So in this video, I'm going to walk and talk you through how I use Claude to run the majority of my one-person online business. I don't use Claude for everything, and I don't think you should use AI for 100% of an online business, leaving that small percentage for the human in the loop. So everything from ideation to creating content to capturing and nurturing leads to designing programs and delivering them, I run all these processes through an AI model. And if you're new to using Claude, I'm going to show you exactly the models that I use, how I use them, and what I do implementing them to get the best results for my one-person, six-figure online business. So you can apply this to any large language model. If you're not getting the results you need, I would recommend trying a bunch. If you're going from ChatGPT, try Claude. If you're using Gemini and you're not getting results, even try Grok. As long as you're happy with the results that you're getting at the end, use that model. But more and more now, I have been using Claude with all the processes because I'm getting good results. If you haven't watched my video on how to migrate all of your data from ChatGPT over to Claude, I'm going to link that one up to you now. But if you're new to Claude, just go to Claude.ai or Claude.com and sign up for a new account. And then you're going to be greeted with something like, hey, your first name, or good afternoon, or welcome back if you have been using this a lot. Now, this is the web version of Claude Chat. Once you open a free account, I would just recommend chatting back and forth to this large language model and having that conversation, opening the dialogue and giving it the information that you want it to remember and work on. For example, if you're anything like me and building a one-person online business, I would go back and forth to Claude and ask it questions. What do you need to know from me and my one-person online business in order to get a good picture of where I'm at and my future goals? So I recommend starting on the free version, and then if you reach any of the limits, just upgrade if you need to. If you can get good responses and results just by using the free daily plan, then go ahead and do that. But as here, I'm going to show you my plan, go into my settings, and then here, my billing. I started on the free plan. I then very quickly upgraded to like £18 a month. And then I ran out of that as well. So then I upgraded to the top tier of the max plan, but then never actually used those limits. So now I've downgraded just to the normal max plan. And as you can see in my usage, I'm not actually reaching those limits on the max plan. So this is a decent one for me. So let's have a look how you should be setting this up. Obviously, give it your name and instructions for Claude, how you want it to work with you. And then if you want any settings or how it displays, this is where you actually set that up. Your account, this is how you've actually set that up and where you are based. Your privacy, this is a big one for me. I would toggle off, help improve our AI models, and also the location metadata. If you want it to be as secure as possible, just toggle these off. This just means that Anthropic, the parent company of Claude, is going to be using your data to train AI. So for me, a personal preference would be to toggle that off. Then in the capabilities, the memory, make sure that you got these toggled on. So search and reference chats, the memory is going to be across chats and generate memory from chat history. So anything that you chat with Claude, it's going to include it in that memory. Now, if you have watched my previous version, this is how you import any data from any other large language models into Claude. So you don't have to start from scratch. But if you're new to all of these large language models, I wouldn't worry about that. And then under connectors, you can actually connect your favorite app. So this is in with customize now. These are some of the apps I use in addition to Claude. So Claude is the hub and it connects to all of my different apps, read my emails. It helps me with design. It helps me with video editing. As you can see, Canva, Descript, Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Granola. It does some note taking, and Kajabi, the platform that I've built my entire business on. So these are just connectors or MCPs that you can actually talk to one another, the AI app and your actual software platform, and then you can build out skills. Now, anything that you do once or you do repetitively, you can build out a skill within Claude so it actually knows how to do it next. So I've got YouTube topic research here, YouTube blog, my brand overview, descriptors and tags, and this is actually how you create skills within Claude. Now, if you want to add Claude to your main browser, I've added it to Chrome, so the Chrome extension with Claude. You can just Google Chrome Web Store Claude. and then add it to your browser. This for me is just saying remove from Chrome because I've already got it installed in my browser. So if I went into my main homepage and then added in that browser, just opened it up in whatever model you would like. I'm going to talk about models in a sec, but then just say, hey Claude, this is my homepage, timpeakman.com. Have a look through this, read everything, and give me some feedback in what I'm missing in terms of my messaging, if there's any spelling mistakes, and how you would improve the look and the feel of my website. Okay, I use Whisperflow just to dictate into that, and then I would just click return. So Claude is a fully agentic AI model, so it can actually take actions for you. This is an agent model. So first of all, it's going to tell me the plan, and I'm just going to approve plan. And as you can see, it's in my website. It's actually on my homepage, and it's going to be scrolling through, and you can watch it scroll through. So any tasks like find me the price of X, or I'm planning a holiday in this location, go on booking.com and find me the 5 best value locations in this specific area. And you can just hit return and just watch Claude do its thing. Then what it's going to do, once it's actually had a look through your browser, as long as you've got access or you're allowing it access through your browser, it's going to give you a report back. See here, Tim, I've read through your entire homepage, and it's going to give you a report. So once it's actually finished doing its job, it's going to respond to you in this chat window. So it's going to give you a feedback on some spelling, grammar, and copying errors, what's missing, what it thinks is missing in your messages, and then ideas of any improvements. And then it's always going to ask, would you like me to do X, Y, and Z? So back in the browser then, in this web-based version, just before you start your new chat with it, you can have a look at see what model you want to use. All of these models are increasing in complexity, and they increase in actually how much you can use them. So depending on the complexity of the task, depends on which one you might want to select. You can either record a voice note or you can dictate what you're saying to it. And then this little plus button here is going to give you some options, either if you wanted to add photos or take a screenshot or link it into a project. So projects are actually a great way of organizing all of your chat threads. So here is an example project of how to use Claude. You've got a space for a little bit of a description here. It's got some memory, and you can add in any files you need. So it's going to remember everything within this project. And these are some of the chats that I've had within this project. So here, just have a think about what projects you want to create. If you have a process within your business that you're doing on the regular, create a project for it, give it a description, give it some instructions, and feed it any documents that it's going to help you execute on that project. So my advice to you, if you're starting all of this from scratch, open up a spreadsheet at the start of the week. And if there's any tasks that you're doing on the regular or repeated tasks, just note them down in the spreadsheet. And by the end of the week, if you've got all your repetitive tasks outlined in that spreadsheet, then try and group them into bunches. Then you can come to Claude and open up a project, give it all the relevant information, and then just start chatting with it. And sooner or later, you will find that Claude will do most of the heavy lifting with your repetitive tasks. So all you need to do is go into a project and initiate it to get those repetitive tasks done. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, there is a desktop version of Claude with 2 other functionalities. And so I've downloaded Claude for desktop. And as you can see in the top left, you have your chat. So this is reflecting the Claude chat on the web browser, but then you also have Cowork and Claude Code. If you've heard about Code and you've seen all of these AI models spring up recently, more often than not, Claude Code is the one that is building these AI tools. It's a way of vibe coding or just chatting back and forth with Claude Code. So then it implements all of the coding for you, and you can build out apps just by having a conversation. Claude Cowork is a little bit more user friendly, and it's in between Claude Chat and Claude Code. And this is probably the preferred function to try and get those complicated projects underway and executed. It's a fully agentic model. I'm just going to go into Cowork for you now. So this is what Claude Cowork looks like. And if I was to open this up, it's very similar to Claude Chat. It has its projects, but now you can actually do more with projects. You can actually schedule tasks out. So I have actually scheduled a bunch of tasks for Claude Cowork to execute on the regular without me prompting. Then dispatch is a way of keeping your computer open and just on your mobile chatting to Claude Cowork whilst you are away. Your computer has to be on. And similarly, when you customize, you can add your connected apps, browse new skills, or add in more plugins. So here you can see all your scheduled tasks, and then with dispatch, these are all the tasks that I've remoted in and executed. And again, it's going to collate all your recent chats here, but if I was to go into projects and have a look at some of my projects, content creation, this is how I chat back and forth with Claude Cowork to try and have a look at some of the content that is doing well out there. I've given it lots of feedback. I've given it some copy here, I've given it some outputs, and then it's just going to collate everything for you. So I use Claude Cowork for like 80% of the time within Claude. I don't use code that much, and I do still use chat. But if you're leaning into Cowork, which I think is my recommendation here, it's going to need a bit of desk space or some files and folders on your computer. So if you go into settings, then Cowork, this is just going to recommend where it's going to store all of these markdown files. So this is acting as its memory, and it's acting as all of those reference materials. So here, if I was to bring up my Mac Finder, I have a shortcut to the Claude project folder, and this has got everything I am working on in terms of projects, personal, my brand, my content, how to use Claude, Kajabi partners, my business growth, and my website. Everything I do now, I run through Claude Cowork, and to try and get that little bit of a sounding board, a sparring partner, to understand if I'm going in the right direction or not. But I make sure there is always a human in the loop, i.e. me, looking over the output before I hit publish. So if you're doing any of this work to generate content for you, I think Claude should be doing the heavy lifting. So the stuff that takes you time, but don't give it all the reins to do the whole thing end to end. I would always have some sort of input and overview the output before you hit publish. So there we have it. That is how I use Claude.ai in my one-person online business to help me get stuff done, be more productive, and have more time to actually think about the future and the direction of my online business. But this is just one of the tools that I use for my online business. It is one of the heavy lifters, but if you wanted to see a simple checklist of all the other tools, free and paid, that I use in this online business, just head to timpeakman.com/tools to get access today. It's a simple downloadable checklist that you can download and see which ones I'm using, see which ones you're using, see which ones you could be using if you're trying to grow a one-person online business like this. That link once more, timpeakman.com/tools. Hopefully this video has provided you with value, and I look forward to seeing you on the very next one.